currently 130 points in the red on the Nifty, but there has been a little bit of a pickup that you can see on your screen over there. The Nifty Bank, however, is the real weak point, right? Almost 500 points in terms of a cut on that index. And some of the big ones over there will come up on your screen. So take a look at Kotak Bank, take a look at Axis. All of these looking extremely weak in trade today. Some of the auto names are also under pressure, right? So whether it's a Tata Motors, M&M, all of these just adding to the losses. So that's what's happening with the market. But let's do one thing. We'll get a conversation going. The Federation of Indian Export Organizations' latest press release suggests that India's export growth may slow to 15 to 17.5% in FY23. Remember, FY22 export growth was seen at 37.6% year-on-year. To discuss all of this, we are joined by Ajay Sahai, Director General and CEO of FIEO. Mr. Sahai, thanks a lot for joining us today. This is Pavitra. So I want to begin by asking you this. First of all, I'm not really sure it's fair to compare FY22 and FY23, right? FY22 would have been on an extremely low base. So in that context, I want to ask you, this 15 to 17% growth, how much do you think a moderated actual growth is for the exports, and how much of a concern do you think that Omicron can pose? Because so far, even if the numbers have been going up, the disruption has not been anything like the past two waves, right?
No, in fact, whatever projections we have given for the next financial year is based on the current situation. That's why we said that we are keeping it little conservative, and as the situation evolves, we will be taking a call 6 months down the line. Let us bear in mind that one of the most important factors which historically has affected India's export growth is the growth in global trade. In 2019, the global trade just moved by around 0.5%. India's exports grew from $323 to $224 billion. In 2020, it declined substantially, and that's why we have taken a hit. Our exports have come down to $275 billion in 2020. This year, in 2021, global trade is growing by around 22%. It has been buoyed by the high prices in metal and commodities, which has helped India's exports also. As of now, we are talking around 50% growth, and we are on way to achieve the $400 billion target. But I personally feel that this kind of the growth which has been witnessed by the global trade in 2021 may not be in 2022, because it is an outcome of the pent-up of demand after the COVID-19. And that's why we are saying that we should move from $400 billion as of now to $460 or $475 billion. And that also will be a huge jump. We may not have that kind of inflationary advantage which we have in our exports in 2021 in 2022. So if we are looking towards an export target of 475 at this point of time, that is quite promising. But what I have already told you, that 6 months down the line, as we move forward, looking into the global situation, looking into the logistics issues which have spanned in the past 1.5 years, we will follow targets.
Mr. Sahai, so, you are conservative, I suppose, given the fact that we have this third wave upon us and it's ravaging throughout the world. Is that the prime reason? I mean, what about other factors? For instance, for a few months, at least in calendar year 21, there was huge trade disruption because of lack of, containers. There was no availability. So have some of the supply side issues eased out? And is it only an Omicron thing? Because then there could be an upside to your estimates, right? If Omicron doesn't end up being as bad, or if this wave settles, say in the next 2 months, then perhaps the estimates could be upgraded.
No, in fact, the logistics challenge as of now have come down, because the peak season supply, which was for Christmas or New Year, Chinese Christmas, is over. We will see what is the situation probably from the end of January, when the markets open in US and EU, to see what is the impact of the COVID-19. But since we have seen that on that all transshipment port in Asia, the congestion has been addressed, and we are now moving towards Pacific also, where the situation has come down. We should also bear in mind that new containers, new ship will be added to the supply base, probably from the second or third quarter of 2022. So we hope that situation should ease out from here. Had it not been from the logistics challenges, we may have crossed even $425 billion in the current financial year. But I think it's too early to take a call. Number of initiatives the government has taken has also helped out in easing the pressure on container. And we hope that since container manufacturing is giving a push now by the government, we will have some of the indigenous manufacturer also who will be adding to the supply base. So if the logistics side, you have rightly said, is an issue, and along with the logistics side, Liquidity is also an issue because today exporters are requiring a larger amount of the credit because the cost of raw material has gone up, the freight cost has gone up, the entire cycle of export has elongated. Bar is also having challenge in making the payment. So exporters are requiring additional credit for additional period. That is coming as a big challenge for exports. Of course, the ECLGS scheme, which has been rolled by the government, has helped the MSME sector a lot, but we expect these kinds of initiative to roll in the next financial year also.
Okay, so liquidity and logistics could be limitations going ahead. Mr. Sahai, morning. So in this export target of $460 to $475 billion for next year, what would be the contribution of software exports? Because we all know the IT industry is doing exceedingly well, growth rates are picking up. And secondly, what would be the contribution from the various PLI schemes, just to understand the success of these schemes?
Let me make it clear, the $460 or $475 billion which we are talking about is for the merchandise sector. For the services sector, we ended last financial year with around $205 billion export. We expect the services to be around $240 billion. And in services, you have rightly said that IT and IT-enabled services are driving our export. They contribute to over 70% of that. We have done exceptionally well in IT and IT-enabled services in last few years, and I'm pretty sure the growth will be there because even when you have moved from working from home, the demand for the software services and hardware has gone up. So far as the merchandise exports are concerned, if we are looking towards a 460 or 475 billion of target, it has to be a nice blend of traditional sectors of exports and sunrise sector of export. One of the key challenge which India is facing in exports is to do with the profile of India's exports, which we call 70-30 as against 30-70. That means 70% of India's exports are to a segment which contribute just 30% of the global trade. On the contrary, only exports is towards which contribute to 70% of the exports. Just to illustrate further, for example, electronics, machinery, and automobile sector today account for 35% of the global trade with a whopping figure of around $7.5 trillion, in which our segment is just 1%. Fortunately for us, the PLI scheme covers all the three segments. It has done remarkably well so far as the mobile sector is concerned, but since the scheme has just been rolled out, we have to wait for some more time. But we feel that PLI scheme will change the entire perspective of Indian exports and the profile of India's export. We will see more products coming out of the PLI scheme to add to India's exports base, particularly in the sunrise sectors, be it electronics, be it other high-end engineering or APIs and pharmaceuticals.
All right, Mr. Sahai, we will leave it at that today. Thanks a lot for joining us and taking us through the exports picture and your outlook on that going forward. But with that, let's move on and look at the market.